All right, today we are diving into a really fascinating concept called Enkai, and it's all built on one pretty radical idea. What if the true power of AI isn't really in the model itself, but in the data we create every single day? Enkai proposes a whole new architecture, one that's designed to put you, yes you, back in control of your own intelligence. So the whole thing kicks off with this fundamental, almost uncomfortable question. Where does intelligence actually live? We've all been taught to think it's in the AI models or inside the big tech platforms we use. But the core idea behind Enkai is, what if we've been looking in the completely wrong place? And this is the big reveal, the core thesis. Enkai argues that the real intelligence isn't in some abstract algorithm. It's in the environment. It's in the raw data, the patterns, the signals that we all generate with every click, every email, every single transaction. So what does that really mean in practice? Okay, so to really get this, we've got to talk about these environmental signals. These are like the digital breadcrumbs we leave behind every second of every day. And turns out, they hold an incredible amount of value. And look, these signals, they're not some kind of abstract, mystical thing. They're the literal footprints of our digital lives. Think about it. Every file you save, every website you visit, how your computer is working, your email habits, your financial patterns, even how you make choices when you're under pressure, all of it. This is the raw material of intelligence.
And here's the kicker. This isn't some theoretical future we're talking about. This is happening right now. All of these incredibly valuable signals are being collected, analyzed, and used to generate massive value. But that value is flowing to huge platforms, not to the people actually creating the data in the first place.
All right, so if the big problem is that our data is getting siphoned off everywhere else, what's the fix? Well, Enkai argues it's not about building yet another app for your phone. It's about fundamentally upgrading the digital environment where we already live and work.
The best way to think about it is like a new kind of operating system for your own life. This intelligent substrate is a foundational layer that sits underneath everything you do, quietly working for you in the background, capturing and making sense of your data. And the most important part? It all happens locally, on your device, and completely under your authority. It's your intelligence on your terms.
Okay, but let's be real. For a system like this to work, you have to be able to trust it, right? Like, completely. So how does Enkai build that trust? Not with promises, but with architecture. It's a system built on verifiable, hard-coded rules. So, instead of one big mysterious AI black box, Enkai enforces a super strict separation of powers. First up, you've got Max, the cognitive part. It can understand signals, it can come up with ideas, but it has zero power to actually do anything. Next is Termi, the execution layer. It can only carry out commands that are approved. It's like a hyper-obedient robot that can't think for itself. The memory? Well, that's just a log. Nothing can be changed or deleted without a record. And then there's the most important piece of the puzzle, you, the human. You are the final authority. Nothing happens without your explicit say-so. This isn't just a cool feature, it's a governance model baked right into the code.
And this is how it all fits together in practice. A signal comes in from your environment. Let's say you get a new email. Max, the cognitive layer, interprets it and makes a proposal. Something like, hey, should I draft a reply to this? That proposal just sits in a queue, waiting for you, the human, to approve it. Only after you give it the green light does it move on to get done. Your authority is a required checkpoint at every single stage. What this all leads to is a totally different way of thinking about truth. With the AI we use today, you're basically trusting a model's opinion. You're asking, hey, is this answer correct? And you're just hoping it is. In the Enkai system, every single action generates a verifiable receipt. So the question changes from, is this correct, to, can this state be proven? It's the difference between relying on an opinion and relying on cold, hard, verifiable proof. So, when you put all of this together, this trust-based architecture, what's the endgame? Well, it leads to a complete 180-degree reversal of the power dynamic we are all so used to online. It's what the source material calls an architectural inversion. Think about your daily life online right now. You log into a platform, right? The moment you do that, you're in their house, playing by their rules. The platform essentially captures you and your data. Enkai flips that script completely. In this model, platforms have to come to your sovereign environment and politely ask for permission to interact, and only on your terms. You're no longer the product, you are the one in charge. And the downstream effects of this shift? They are huge.
APIs that used to just take your data would now have to ask for permission to consume it. The intelligence that comes from your life becomes truly local, truly yours. And the platforms we use every day, they would shift from being our digital landlords to just being temporary guests in our digital homes.
And this whole idea, it doesn't just stop with you and your personal data. The argument is that if this model really takes off, it could create an entirely new foundational layer for society itself. It could change how we coordinate and interact on a global scale.
I mean, just imagine what this could unlock. We could move from being totally dependent on the cloud to having our own sovereign personal data lockers. We could shift away from systems that demand our blind trust to systems based on verifiable proof. This could even enable totally new kinds of governance for decentralized organizations. Ultimately, you're building a network of sovereign humans, all interacting on their own terms.
Which brings us right back to where we started. We are all generating these incredibly valuable signals, all day, every day. The technology to capture and use them is already here. So the final, critical question isn't really about technology at all. It's about ownership. Who owns the intelligence that is derived from your life?
The answer that Enkai proposes is as simple as it is powerful. You do. The entire point of this architecture is to make that ownership not just some philosophical right, but an enforceable technical reality. And that is a reality that could completely change our digital future.